is going on, comic book fans? We are just one day away from the best day of the work week. You guys know what day that is. That is New Comic Book Day. The day we get all those amazing stories and covers and everything we know and love about this hobby on New Comic Book Day. It's like the best day. It's like Christmas every single Wednesday. I just absolutely love it. And if you guys did not know, this Wednesday is September 18th of 2024. And yeah, I am pumped. I'm excited. There's some great stories, some amazing covers coming out this week. A lot of great ratio covers. So if you're a big ratio guy like I am, be excited because there's some great ones coming out this week. And yeah, let's not waste any more time because we got a lot to cover this week. So let's go ahead and check out my pull list. Now, as you guys can see, this is a decent sized pull list. It's not gigantic. It doesn't take up the whole entire screen. But guys, you can't see what those books are, so let me go and throw them up on screen right now. Guys, there are a total of 19 books on my pull list. There is a number 0 and a number 1. And then there are 6 DC books, 6 Marvel books, and 7 independent titles. Now, I read the previous issue to every single book except for Wonder Woman. Now, the reason why I didn't read Wonder Woman is because it's a tie-in issue, and the last tie-in issue to the big Absolute Power event, I gotta tell you, it was pretty terrible, even though it was written by Tom King, but it completely threw off what he was writing beforehand, and I'm just gonna think I'm gonna wait until Daniel St. Pierre is back on the book and they're picking up that old storyline again, because I just don't care about the tie-in. So I did not read that issue, so that book could not make the top 3 list. Every other book you see on screen, I did read the previous issue, so all those books can make the top 3 list. Now, there is one book on the chopping block, and there is another one like really close. Even just after issue number 1, it's already that close to being on the chopping block. So let's go ahead and find out what those 2 books are right now. 2 more books on the chopping block this week. Even though one, I'm going to give a few more issues, but the first book we're going to talk about, it has been chopped. I am no longer going to be picking this book up, and that is Rat City. This is another Spawn spin-off title. I was really excited because it was set off way into the future, and this guy was going to have like a nanobot like Spawn suit. But after reading like the first 4 or 5 issues, I just did not care about the story. It just didn't connect with me. It didn't connect with what was going on in the other Spawn books, which those books are all amazing and they're all tying in with each other. And I think that they're just doing a great job, or I should say Tom McFarlane is doing a great job of crafting that world. But Rat City is on its own little island and I just am not enjoying it. I don't like the art. I don't like the story. So I'm chopping it from my pull list. Now, the other book that is on the chopping block, or about to be on the chopping block, is X Factor. I read issue number 1 yesterday, and I gotta tell you, it was super cheesy. It dealt a lot with social media, and I don't like social media. Like, I should probably like social media because I'm in this whole, like, you know, influencer world, but I can't get myself to post on Instagram. I hate TikTok so much. And yeah, Snapchat and all the other ones, I don't care for. And that whole first issue was about them being popular on social media, and it was just disgusting, and I hated it. So if this story does not change and it continues down like this whole influencer trying to be hip, I'm just gonna drop it because that is not interesting to me at all. So X Factor, you're on thin ice. Smarten up, do better. That's the chopping block this week. Let's go ahead and dive into the wonderful, the positivity that is my cover liver picks. There are so many really good covers coming out this week, and some of them I didn't even see until yesterday when I was making this list. So guys, strap in and let's go through these covers. And first up, we got The Avengers issue number 18 with the Marvel Studios variant done by Ryan Meandering. I want to say that's how it's pronounced. And this cover featuring Vision is so cool. Now, there are the same style of covers featuring Avengers from the movies, but they're not as cool and they're on different books. But this one right here featuring Vision is so good in my opinion. Now, next up is Deadpool issue number 6. Now, this is the Stormbreakers variant done by Carlos Fabian, and it is amazing. It is so good, but it features Ghost Rider. I am so baffled when Marvel does these covers featuring heroes or villains, but they put them on other books. Like, this should be a Ghost Rider cover, not a cover for Deadpool. It's so mind-boggling. But this cover is really, really good in my opinion. Now guys, next up is Spirits of Vengeance issue number 1 with the Kushala variant and the 1/100 Virgin variant done by Derek Chu. I'm sorry if you guys hear the sirens in the background, but all my windows are open because it's like wonderfully like 65 degrees outside. So if you hear a little extra noise, that is why. It's because my windows are open. I apologize. But this Kushala variant by Derek Chu is freaking amazing. I'm not a huge Derek Chu fan, but this one is really, really good. Now guys, next up is another cover for Spirits of Vengeance issue number 1 with the variant cover done by Scotty Young, and that's really good. Like, really, really good. I'm a big Scotty Young fan. That cover is just fantastic. Now, the next cover I put on this list because I know a lot of you guys would expect this cover to be on this list, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't love it. I don't love the face on this character, and this is X-Men issue number 4 with the Emma Frost and the 1/100 Virgin variant done by J. Scott Campbell. Now, the previous 3 issues, I really enjoyed his cover for X-Men. But this one, featuring Emma Frost, I think the face is a little off for some reason, and I don't like it, but I know you guys would like it, so I want to make sure that, just in case people are not looking at variants every single day like I am, they know about this variant, because I know J. Scott Campbell is a very popular artist. Alright guys, next up is Ultimate X-Men issue number 7 with the 1:25 ratio variant done by Dyke Ruan. You guys know I love Dyke Ruan, and I really like this cover, but when I looked really close at it, the Storm character, I forgot what this character's actual name is, her face looks really weird, and where is her nose? But the rest of the cover is fantastic. It's just like, you know, the very middle of the cover looks a little weird, but I still really like it, and I most likely will probably pick this up because I'm sure on mycomicshop.com this cover will probably be like $8, and that's totally worth $8 to me. Alright guys, let's continue. Next up is Catwoman issue number 68 with the cover F, which is the 1:50 ratio variant done by Tirso Cons. Love it, love it, love it. Definitely need to have this cover because I got the one with her eating noodles like on the side of the top of a building or something, and I need to have this one where Catwoman is like, you know, just reading a book with her cats. It's so good. Now next up are 2 back-to-back covers for Dazzler issue number 1. The first one that I really like is the 1:25 ratio variant done by Yasmin Putri. It's just Putri doing really good things with the character of Dazzler. And the other one that I really like is not a ratio. This is an open order cover. This is the Ashley Witter variant, and it's also really stinking gorgeous. Now, I'm not picking either of those up. I just think they're really great covers, and I think you guys need to know about them. Now, next up is another great cover. This is Spider Society issue number 2 with the variant cover done by Chris Enka. I want to say that's how it's pronounced, featuring that fabulous Spider-Woman from the Spider-Verse movie, and she's so cool, and this cover is so great. I love the bright, vibrant covers. It really draws your attention to her. It's just a great cover. Now next up is Venom War Lethal Protectors issue number 1 with the variant cover done by Miguel Mercado. I forgot what the name of this character is, but it does not matter. This cover is absolutely fantastic. Oh, Silver Sable. I think that's what it is. Guys, let me know if I'm right or wrong down in the comments below. Now, the final cover that I really, really like is Void Rivals issue number 1 with the 10th printing Virgin variant done by Daniel Warren Johnson. Now, I have no idea what the cover price for this book is going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be cover price. There are 10 different versions for this 10th printing, which I think is a pretty cool thing that Image is doing because, you know, 10th printing, 10 different covers. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. But this one is definitely my favorite, done by Daniel Warren Johnson. All right, guys, those are all my cover lever picks for this week, which again is September 18th of 2024. New Comic Day is the best day. But let's go ahead and cover the new number 1 that I think you guys have to be excited about because the story sounds so good. Alright guys, before we dive into that new number 1, I have to ask each and every single one of you who's still watching this video right now, smash that like button. It really helps the channel out so much. So if you guys could do that for me real quick before we dive into this new number 1, you guys would be legends. You would! Alright guys, let's go ahead and check out that new number 1. Any book written by Daniel Warren Johnson, in my opinion, is a must-have pickup. Now, I also love when he does the interior art as he writes the story, like Do a Powerbomb was so freaking good, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, so freaking good, Murder Falcon, so freaking good, Beta Ray Bill, so freaking good. There's so many great stories by this guy, and this story right here is a new independent title. It is called The Moon is Following Us. Issue number 1 comes out this week. I've been talking about this book ever since I saw it on previews. I told you about it again when it was on final order cutoff, and now it's finally coming out. We're going to get our hands on this book. Now, this does have art by Riley Rossmo, and I'm really excited about that because I'm a big fan of his. He has a very particular, very interesting style to his art, and I think it's going to fit this book really well. And I did come across, I think, some tweets maybe on Twitter, or maybe it was on cbr.com, but there was a little interview with Riley Rossmo. I'm probably totally butchering your name, and I'm sorry, but he was going back and forth with Daniel Warren Johnson. They were talking about how they just worked so well together, and that is just so awesome to hear. But let's go ahead and read the synopsis, and I'll make sure I put some preview pages up on screen while I read the synopsis, so that way we can all be really excited about it. Sam and Duncan Lamar love their 6-year-old daughter, Penny, more than anything in the world. But half a year ago, she was taken by the Cascade, an evil force they barely understand. Now Sam and Duncan must fight side by side with magical beings Penny cherished to try to get her back before she's gone forever. Sounds amazing. Sounds so freaking good. Now, this first issue is going to be 32 pages, and it has a cover price of $3.99. There are some really great variant covers. I love the cover B. It's done by Daniel Warren Johnson. It's a wraparound variant. There is a blank variant. There is a gorgeous cover C. It's a 1:15 ratio variant done by Ryan Stegman. There is a 1:50 ratio variant, which is the cover B, but it's obviously black and white. There is a 1/100 foil of the cover A, and there is an exclusive cover. It's from the Comic Corner, and it's done by Trish Forstner. And that one I don't care for all that much, but the other variants are all freaking gorgeous. I'm definitely going to go for the cover B, which I already pre-ordered, the cover A, and then that 1:15 Ryan Stegman are definitely my favorites. Alright guys, that is the new number 1 that I think you guys have to be picking up. Now it's time to dive into the top 3 books that I think you have to be picking up this week, because these stories were absolutely the best coming out this week. Now, the number 3 book, I did not read the issue that is coming out this week. I read the previous issue. I just want to give that reminder one more time. But guys, in the number 3 spot, the book that I'm really excited to pick up this week is X-Men issue number 4. Now, this is coming from the writer of Jed MacKay. You guys know I love that guy so much. His writing is amazing. Though this does have a fill-in artist. The main artist on this book with Jed MacKay is Ryan Stegman, but we are having a fill-in artist of Natho Diaz filling in on issue number 3. But guys, don't worry, Stegman is back in issue number 5. Guys, issue number 3 was so much fun. It was an absolute blast. This continues to be a great story around a great team of X-Men, and it's just Jed MacKay doing Jed MacKay things. He's setting up each character, giving them reasons for you to care about what they're doing and how they're doing it, how they're interacting with the team, and it's so great. Now, what I really like about this story is that the X-Men are up in Alaska, and they have this factory that they were basically given after what happened with Krakoa. And so they're up there, and they are, trying to restart themselves in this little small town in Alaska where this factory is. In issue number 1, the sheriff went out and Cyclops gave them a tour, or Beast did, I think. And Cyclops has met with the sheriff multiple times, and I love how he's building this relationship with the humans in this town. I think that's very important, because that's a big thing that I think the X-Men books need to do, is to start to try to have relationships with the humans around them and like make them feel safe, even though craziness always happens around them. But it's a very interesting story, or interesting element of a story that I don't think has been talked about a lot, because every time they bring in the humans, but it's about how humans hate the mutants and don't want to be around them. But why can't they start building a relationship with this small town, and this town wants them there. They see the things that the mutants can do for them, give them jobs, give them other things. I think that would just be awesome. And that's a great element that Jed MacKay is adding into the story. I find it highly interesting. But also in issue number 3, a really cool part was the U.S. government had sent these agents up to basically sneak in to the factory and try to destroy Cerebro, and it was awesome. And there was a great conversation between the main agent, and he was in a diner, and Cyclops went and met him in the diner, and they had this dialogue that was back and forth. It was epic. I didn't read the end of the whole Krakoa age, and it gave us a lot of recaps to what happened, and it was awesome. It was a great issue. Like, I'm really enjoying X-Men. I hope Jed MacKay can continue this positive story and building this universe, and just, I don't know. I'm really excited to be reading X-Men again, and that hasn't happened since Jonathan Hickman's picked it up like forever ago. So, X-Men issue number 4. Pick it up, guys. If you haven't picked up the previous 3 issues, make sure you do. Now, variant covers. Now, there are some pretty cool ones. There is a Godzilla variant done by Chris Samney, which is fantastic. It's a really great cover. There's another Stormbreakers variant, which features Kushala, the Ghost Rider, which is so strange on the X-Men book, but this is done by Elena Castrogrand. There's obviously the J. Scott Campbell Virgin and also the trade dress. The Virgin is the 1/100. There is a pretty cool 1/25 done by Mark Aspinall. It features Juggernaut. It's great, but I also don't like it at the same time. It's really strange how I like it and don't like it all at the same time. But those are all the open order in the ratio variants for X-Men issue number 4. Pick up your favorite. Make sure you're picking this book up. And guys, let's go ahead and move over to number 2. The number 2 book is freaking great, and we're on issue number 18, and I've been enjoying it since issue number 1. I was so glad that Superman was good again, because Superman for so long has been a book that I did not care about. Superman, I understand, has got to be a hard character to write really interesting stories for, because he's like a character that can do everything. He's super smart, he's got freeze breath and laser eyes and super strength, and he can fly and almost go as fast as the Flash. What can this guy not do? What can he not save? So he's got to be hard to write an interesting story for. But guys, ever since Joshua Williamson has been telling this story that he's been telling since issue number 1, it's gotten better and better with every single issue. It really has. Now, the artist on this book has been Jamal Campbell. There's been a couple fill-in artists throughout this run, but Jamal Campbell has been crushing it. Issue number 18 is his final issue on this book. But guys, do not fret. Joshua Williamson is staying on as writer, but Dan Mora is picking up as the main artist. So good. Now, I gotta tell you, I wish Jamal Campbell was staying on, because I think he's really great. What he's doing with Joshua Williamson, telling the story how they have been, has just been excellent. But, you know, you can't knock Dan Mora. Dan Mora is one of the best in the game right now. But why should you guys be caring about Superman? It's because the story is not just about Superman, because Lex Luthor has had this whole turn of character where he's really trying to do good, and there's been this whole trust issue with Superman actually trusting him, because this is not the first time that Lex Luthor has like tried to turn a leaf. No, but I'm not going to ruin what happened to Lex, because there was a big moment in the last arc that happened to him and it completely changed him, like completely. But what was really cool is that Lex Luthor turned Lex Corp into Super Corp. And now Superman has like this whole, like, you know, he's rich, I guess, because he has this building and all these employees, and they're all trying to help him save the world or any crisis that is happening. And it's been such a cool thing. And there's also this love story between Jimmy Olsen and the Banshee character, and that's been really interesting. Or is it Banshee? I forgot what her name of the character is. It does not matter. But there's so many little stories. Oh, they brought in Lex Luthor's daughter, and that's been really interesting, because she was off with Brainiac for a while. Why was she there? Because Lex Luthor gave her to Brainiac. What? But now he's trying to build that relationship back with his daughter. I don't know, man. There's so many cool elements, and it's just told so well. I gotta tell you, Superman is probably the least interesting character in this book, and that's fine with me. I love everything else around him. And that's what Joshua Williamson has been building, is this great, like, platform or team around Superman, or stories around Superman that is intriguing and engaging and dragging you in. And Superman's like this little puppet that pops up every once in a while. And it's like, oh yeah, Superman's there. He's cool. That's cool. But everyone else is so much cooler. All right. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, but this has also been a really good Absolute Power tie-in. It makes sense of how they're telling it. It's not just silly like fill-in stories. They're actually continuing the Superman thread, which is why I didn't like the Wonder Woman story, because they kind of like completely stopped what was happening in the previous story, and they had to tell this Absolute tie-in, where Superman, it just flows. It's like continuing their storyline, continuing all the character storylines, and they're just moving into this, and they're going to move right out of it. And it's going to be seamless, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. Now, hopefully that's got you interested in picking the story up, because it has been really, really great, but the variant covers for this issue have been lackluster. So there is the cover B done by Gillian March, which is probably one of the better Gillian March covers that have male characters on it. He does women fantastic, but men kind of weird sometimes, but this one by Gillian March is pretty good. There's the cover C done by W. Scott Forbes, which is fine. There's the cover D done by Sweeney Boo. I am not a Sweeney Boo fan at all. There's cover E done by Nicholas Scott, which I don't care for at all. And the 1 in 25 done by Al, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, is not good in my opinion. So lackluster variant covers, but overall this is a must-have pickup, and just pick up the cover A. It's done by Jamal Campbell. It's fantastic. All right. That is the number 2 book. Let's go ahead and find out what the number 1 story that I think you guys have to be reading this week, because this story was the best, or the previous issue had the story that was the best to lead up to this issue right here. So let's go ahead and find out what the number 1 book is. Elseworld Tales. Oh, Elseworld Tales, you are the stinking best. I love Elseworld Tales, and I love what-if stories. I love when they take our superheroes and just kind of like flip them and do something different with them. It makes them interesting and changes a little bit of who they are, and it's okay. I love when that happens, because we're not tied into that continuity. I don't have years and years of knowledge of this character, and when they change a little thing, it's like, oh, no, you can't do that, because back in like 1999, he was doing this, and that contradicts this. No, Elseworld Tales clears the slate, and everything is new and fresh, and you can do whatever you want, and I love it. And that's why I really, really enjoyed Dark Knights of Steel All Winter issue number 2. But issue number 3 comes out this week. It's coming from the writers of Tom Taylor and Jay Kristoff, and has art by Tirso Cons and Riccardo Federici. Issue number 2 was so good. Issue number 1 was okay, but issue number 2, amazing. So good. It like brought me back into this universe of Dark Knights of Steel in such a good way, and it was incredible. It features Slade Wilson is our main character, and it's why it's good is because I really enjoy assassin big badass characters with a heart, and they're willing to go out and murder and like kill and destroy people, but they have this big bleeding heart, and when there's people that are close to them, they will do anything to protect them. And in this book, you can tell that Slade had a family, and he messed it up. And now he's off like just being a assassin for hire for Vandal Savage. And he now is running into his ex-wife, and she is with this character that needs to be protected, because after the big fallout of the first story arc, everything has turned to black and white and gray, and no one knows why, but this kid is bringing color back. And she needs to bring him to one point, and they're on the way there, and Vandal Savage wanted Slade to go and get this kid and bring this kid back to him, but on the way he found that this kid was with his ex-wife, and she needs to bring him somewhere to bring color back everywhere. And he's like, you know what, I need to do this, but there's like this tension between the ex-wife and Slade, which was fantastic. This kid, we don't know who this kid is. He's really interesting, and there was a huge battle between Slade and his daughter. Crap, I'm forgetting his daughter's name. And she's such an amazing character. Ravenger, but they say her real name in the book. I can't remember what it is. But the battle between them was so good. But the family elements, or the dynamic and the back and forth between Slade and his ex-wife, Eliana, I want to say it is? No, that's the character from Marvel. I forgot, Elena, maybe? I read it yesterday, but I'm already forgetting. Was just so good. And the little kid was asking all these questions that was really intriguing, and it was just such a beautiful story. And the art by Tirso cons, and Riccardo Federici was gorgeous. Gorgeous, like so good. This was a great, well-paced story, and it's really engaging with the story that they're telling, and it's brutal with the fight scenes. They're epic, they're big, and it's awesome. And I loved, there's this one panel where Slade kicked Ravager, and like they said, thud, because like the way his foot was hitting her was just would make that sound, and it was so well done. I love when they add those big words in behind the action. It was done so well. It's just a great book. And this is a 40-page book for $4.99, so we're getting a little extra pages, and it is $1 more than $3.99, but it's totally worth it. And in the cover for issue number 3, we got Batman. Now, Batman is a little different in this book. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but he's not just a human. There's more to Batman in this world, and it's so stinking cool. Go read the first story arc. DC vs. Vampires was incredible from issue number 1 to 11. 12 kind of ruined it for me, but they picked it back up with this new story arc. It's so good again. Dark Knights of Steel, the first story arc, was great from issue number 1 all the way to the end. They wrapped it up beautifully. It was so good, and now it's back, and Bruce is back. It's so good, guys. There are only 2 variants for this. There is a cover B done by Skylar Patridge, which is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of her art. And there is a cover C done by Riccardo Federici, and that one is pretty good. It features Slade, and it's really beautifully painted. But overall, I really like the cover A, but done by Tirso Cons with Bruce and Slade going at it. So good. This is a must-have pickup, guys. You really should be reading it. It's super, super enjoyable. All right, guys, now it's time to dive into the not top 3, but the books you gotta see. All right, guys, the not top 3, but the books you gotta see is me going over the rest of the books on my pull list, and I've broken them down into little buckets. I got the books that are okay. These books are creeping closer and closer to the chopping block. We got the good, which the stories are just really solid, and then we got the great. Now, these books you basically say almost made the top 3 list because the stories were really, really great. So, first up, the okay. Now, we're gonna kick this off with Spirits of Vengeance, issue number 1. Now, the reason why I put this on this list is because after finishing Ghost Rider Final Vengeance, I gotta say this story ended really poorly. It wasn't very interesting. I thought it was really poorly written, and I wanted to like it because I really like the character of Johnny Blaze and overall Ghost Riders. I think they're really great characters, but that story with the Hood was just not great. And I looked at the creative team on this book. I don't know the writer or the artist, so I'm gonna go in with this with very low expectations, and I'm gonna let this book surprise me. Please surprise me. Now, next up is Wonder Woman, issue number 13. I already told you why this book is on the list. It's because it's a tie-in issue, and I'm not a big fan of tie-in issues. After that is X Factor, issue number 2. Already told you guys that X Factor, issue number 1 was really social media heavy, and I just don't like that stuff. And the last but not least is Jenny Sparks, issue number 2. Now, this is a book I was hoping to like. It's got the writer of Tom Taylor and art by Jeff Spokes. Great creative team. But it was like a hard story to follow. Lots of Tom King happening in that issue, and I don't know, it didn't do it for me, but hopefully issue number 2 and 3 are going to pick this story up, and I'm going to like it a little bit more. Now, the good, Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 31. We're starting a new story arc that's going to feature the character of Eclipso, which is a great villain. It's written by Mark Waid, and we got a new artist in the book, Adrian Gutierrez. I believe he was the guy doing Blue Beetle, and if my mind is correct, that's going to be a great artist. He is so good. Now, next up is Destro, issue number 4. Great book. This is just a really interesting story about a villain within the G.I. Joe universe, and I'm really enjoying it. After that is Thundercats, issue number 8. This book is continuing to grow on me. The art needs to change. It really does. I think the story is getting better, but the art is just, it's lackluster to me. And after that, we got Sam and Twitch, issue number 6. This story by Todd McFarlane and Simon Kredinsky is really great. I probably should have put this on the great list because the last issue was so good. It was so good. If you're into murder mystery, this is not so much a Spawn book, I should say yet. It's definitely just a murder mystery story. It's so good. And the last book on the good list is the Hulk issue number, I forgot to write the issue of this, but the Incredible Hulk, by Philip Kennedy Johnson was really great at the beginning, and in the middle it kind of like completely fell off the ledge. It was not good anymore, and it's slowly starting to pick up the steam again. So I'm enjoying it again, and Philip Kennedy Johnson is overall a great writer, so I hope this book gets a lot better. Now, the books that are great, they were really great reads, and you guys should really consider picking these books up. First book up is The Avengers, issue number 18. I really enjoyed issue number 17. This book is written by Jed MacKay. They had some really bad issues during that whole tie-in with the whole blood hunt, but we're back to the main story. And issue number 17 was just a great building block for what's going to come down the line, and I'm really interested to see where this book is going to go. After that is Deadpool, issue number 6. This is written by Coley Ziegler. The story writing wasn't the best, but I really like where the story is going, where Wade Wilson is stepping down and his daughter is taking over as the main Deadpool character. That's going to be really interesting, and I'm excited to see where that's going to go. So that's why this is in the great book, because the story overall, the story arc is amazing. Or I shouldn't say amazing, is great. After that is Thundercats Cheetara, issue number 3. This book is really good. Great writing, great art. This is what the Thundercats should be like from the get-go. The story is really great. It features Cheetara when she was back on Thundera and Lionel was still like a small kid, and it's dealing with her knowing that something bad is going to happen. So this is probably going to be a shorter arc, or maybe a mini-series, I should say, because I'm sure Thundera is going to be like exploded, and you know, Thundercats are going to escape, and it's just going to be the lead-up story to them escaping, but it's told beautifully. It's so great. And the last book is Witchblade, issue number 3. Really great issue number 2. Issue number 1 was okay. It just was the story about the character getting the Witchblade, which is like a bracelet basically. And issue number 2 was the character dealing with the fact that she has this power on her and is changing her, how she perceives the world, how she feels her body, how she can feel things around her and sense things. And there was this one word bubble, which was really weird. I should say word bubble, thought bubble. That was just like, I can't believe how horny I am. It was very interesting. It did pay off because this character did have relations with a person, and then something really terrible and bad happened, and it was awesome. But overall, the story is definitely pulled me in after issue number 2. I was kind of hesitant after issue number 1, but issue number 2 was really great, and the artwork is fantastic. All right, guys, that is the not top 3, but the books you got to see. That means we're at the end of today's video, so let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Oh man, guys, we are at the end of another video. Another one. I have no idea how many videos I've made, especially in this series. Like, probably lots of them. But I love talking to you guys about New Comic Book Day and all the books that I'm really excited about. I love digging through all the covers that are coming out every single week, finding the little gems in my opinion and sharing those with you guys. I really do. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, make sure you guys are smashing that like button. If you guys enjoyed that video and you're not subscribed, you're just gonna say, what are you doing? Get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notifications, and again, smash that like button. It helps the channel out so much. Now, some exciting news. Final order cutoff is right around the corner. I'll have that video for you either Thursday or Friday. But I was talking with Stephanie, and I think we are gonna try, I know I've said this before in the past, but bring the live stream back. Comics and Beer could be coming back. Now, if you guys are OG channel like subscribers and followers, and you guys watch Comics and Beer and are excited about that, guys, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to know how many of you guys would be excited for a live stream where Stephanie and I get together. I get her back on the channel, back in front of you guys, and we talk about the latest comic book TV and movie news, because that's the stuff that she's mostly up to date with, and just have a really good time for an hour every single Friday night. Would you guys be excited about that? Guys, let me know down in the comments below. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on Thursday or Friday with the final order cutoff recommendations and speculation video. You guys have a great New Comic Book Day. Get every single book you guys were hoping to get. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.